Well, hello, Internet. It is me, Russ Shaw. You are experiencing Russ Shaw TV. I named it that because why not? Also, if you hear like water running in the background, if you think you're hearing that, let me just take you behind the scenes. All right, we're gonna go beyond the third wall over here. This is our turtle. There's that turtle. We got a pet turtle right there, and his name is Willow. And that's a weird name for a male turtle, but that's what's going on right here. There he is. He's the Mississippi Map, and he likes to party. Right here on Russ Shaw TV. I'm not sure where I'm going with that. Just going to kind of roll with it. Bear with me. So we went to a few record stores. Already shared this stuff in the hotel room that we got in the other ones. We got these on the way back from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This was Redcat Records. We got totes. See? It's Redcat Records tote right there. And then we got a Neptune Records tote right there. I'm going to share some, also, we sat down and listened to the records. And some of the best ones that we got, you know, from the trip. Now, we didn't have a lot of money. I'll tell you that story a little later. I'm going to share some of the best for first. Saving the first for last. If that makes any sense at all. I've been looking for this record forever. Self-titled Social Distortion record. If you know it, you probably love it. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't know your tastes in music, but hopefully if you're hanging around Russ Shaw TV, you like a little punk rock, Social Distortion. Mike Ness, brainchild of this band, kind of a mess himself. I like people like that, you know. I like my artists to be a little, you know, got something going on. Get working something out of their soul and being, and it comes out like this. The biggest knocked it out of the park with the Ring of Fire cover, Johnny Cash cover. You know, you get a punk band covering Johnny Cash, and just the way the guys, you know, Mike Ness he talks a lot about that, the kind of old becoming new, you know, this like retro futurism maybe is what's going on. Kind of like what they did with the Mustang in 2005. They put the whole 60s Mustang on a Mike Ness, you know, and that's, you know, Brian Setzer kind of reminds me of that too. But this is different than what Setzer did with Stray Cats and Brian Setzer Orchestra. And guys like that, you know, I think Mike Ness is kind of one of those guys. Like Social Distortion records, there's more to it. Like it's faster. This is punk, but it's also got that bluesy, almost kind of, dare I say, country. I mean, it's certainly rockabilly. One of the reasons this album is so near and dear to me is my old friend Dave that I grew up with. He's like 15. Him and I were the same age. Like, he was born just a few months before I was. And he tragically passed away in 2018 of a heart attack. And I lost a friend that I had since I was 15. And, you know, this album, we both talked about this album. I remember him calling me one time and he talked about the song Ball and Chain. It's the first song on side 2. And no, it wasn't about like his wife or anything. Like people think that, oh, the ball and chain, you know, that's an old thing. The song isn't about that. The song is about, you know, just existentialism, being a working class person, and you know, just feeling like life is just, you're just working and it's hard, and I'm hungry, I'm older, I'm tired, and I can't take any more pain. Take away this ball and chain. I mean, we had this conversation over this record. It's probably the deepest conversations I had with my friend Dave. We're just talking about that song and story of my life, you know, talking about Johnny Cash, and so it's near and dear memories to me. This is a repress. All right, I have seen original copies of this. So this album came out like 1990 originally. This is a music on vinyl, and this sounds amazing. It sounds really good. It's a good repress of this record. So that was a big one that we found, and I had to get this record. It wasn't that much. I don't know. It's like $40 Canadian, which is like, I don't know, 28 or something. Hey, cats. We got cats fighting in here. It's gonna calm down the crew. It's a rowdy crowd around here. Speaking of cats, where did we get these records? Boom. Redcat Records, Vancouver B.C. Okay, here's the record. This one might draw some oohs and ahs. Positive and negative, I don't know. But this is Foo Fighters, Sonic Highways. I'm not gonna, you know, it's not my favorite Foo Fighters record, I'll be honest. Probably not a lot of yours. I don't know, but I like the documentary. This was based on it's like a docu-series that was on HBO. And they made a song for each town that they went to. I've even shared some clips on my channel when I talked about the song on here, Subterranean, which is about Robert Lang Studios and Shoreline. It's not just about that, but it's about, you know, Dave talking about getting to a very deep part in his life when Kurt passed away. And now, you know, dealing with another Taylor Hawkins, right? The guy's been through some stuff. But I think that when I first heard the first song, you know, Something for Nothing, and there was like a cover of Dio, right? There's like a Dio, I forget which song it was, but they rip off the riff from, I say rip off, right? It's like, okay, they were influenced, they sampled that riff, obviously sampled it. Holy Diver, that's it, Holy Diver. They sampled Holy Diver for that. But they talk about Chicago and the blues, and that's what that number one song was about, and the city that it was based on in the episode was Chicago, and they recorded it in Chicago. And Chicago, you think about the blues in America, I mean, back in the day, and all of this music from all over the world. I mean, blues music is American to the core, man. And a lot of that, man, it came out of Chicago. And so much influence, right? Inspiration. A little band called Led Zeppelin that has something to do. I mean, just there's a lot of bands that took those blues riffs, man. Those three chords and the truth. It was Muddy Waters. It was, you know, all these Howlin' Wolf, all these guys. It's a gatefold. Pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, there's a bunch of these on YouTube. Like if you just Google it, you can watch these on YouTube. They're not in the highest quality, but it's worth a watch. I thought it was an amazing, the way they told the story. And I got this record because I liked it. I'm not going to go gush on about the docu-series, but here's some of the other records we got, kind of budget records on that day. This was a great find that my wife found. Pretenders Get Close. 1986. Some of their awesome incredible work. We did buy Foo Fighters tickets too, didn't we, love? And Pretenders is on the bill. Pretenders opening up for the Foo Fighters. That's going to be interesting. So, really enjoyed this record. Put that on the turntable. And it sounds, again, this sounds great. 1986. Amazing stuff. This record, more of my wife's liked this band back in the day. Grew up with Bananarama. Not their greatest record, but you know, they had the big hit More Than Physical back in the day. So she also found this 12-inch single, which has a bunch of different... I was talking with my friend Sean out there, the Sean Spins, and we were talking about 12-inch singles. I'm not really a fan. It's like, it's a big thing, and it's a single. But something that he brought up is usually with a 12-inch single, unlike a 10-inch or a 7-inch or whatever, you get some kind of... And this one has a garage version, which is pretty cool. So you got a dub mix, a 7-inch mix, and the garage mix of all of the same song. That was their big hit back in the day. So there's that. This was kind of fun, although it's not my favorite or our favorite Rick Springfield album when we listen to it. This is Rick Springfield. I mean, the guy to thank for comic books. Rick Springfield Comic Group. And it, you know, it was a promo. Look at that. Boom. It's got the promo. It's got the radio station service. Columbia Records radio station service, not for resale. It's funny how many promos you find that you buy at a record store that are not for resale. Just like F you to the man or something, right? But yeah, here we go. So he's got, there he is. He's got like comic book covers of the tracks. And yeah, there's that. So give it a listen. Don't give it a listen. It's like,
I like the cover.
You like the cover? I know the cover. It's one of those albums. I think somebody had a thread about that. Did you ever buy an album because of the cover? And that was the one. It was $3 Canadian. So it's like, that makes it like $1 something from what our money. Bringing it down there. All right, this is kind of a returning to some of the records, just to let you know how they sounded. And I shared these before, but this was a little weird. I'll be honest. This is from Zulu Records. There was a lot of records we would have got. We would have spent more money, but we were in a sort of crisis mode a little bit. So my work donkey from work, Vicky DeVan, I put a speed sensor in it. Had a transmission code. These vans are Dodge Grand Caravan. It's the greatest little work donkey, you know? If you don't care about having a flashy sign on the side of your rig, this is Russ Shaw's business. Russ Shaw, handyman. My phone number on the side of the... People hire me through an app. I don't need to do that, all right? I don't want car payments. I'm a mechanic. I can fix stuff. I can keep these little vans running for... I drove one 400,000 miles. True story. So, this thing broke down, and it's sort of major stuff, right? The transmission's going like, ugh. So should we even take this trip, we thought to ourselves. So we looked up how much we paid for the hotels, because we could still get, you know, through Expedia, you can still get your, you know, money back, refund with whatever. And we spent, so I'm not even kidding you, for, was it 3 nights, 4 days, 3 nights, it was $288 American. That's a bargain. We're thinking to ourselves, you know, it's not a lot of money. We had tickets to Måneskin. It's our favorite modern rock band these days. Listen to a lot of Måneskin, Italian rock band. You should give them a listen. It was a great show. And we were going to sell our tickets because they sold out. Not long before we went to the show, they sold out Madison Square Garden. All right. And this is not just Ticketbot sold it out. I mean, the place was packed with people. So rock and roll that Gen Zers like. You got my attention. And we really liked the band. Anyway, we didn't spend a lot of money on records for that reason, because we're thinking, are we going to need to buy a new van? A new van, new to us. I spend like $3,000 on these things, maybe. Or try and fix a transmission. So there's more to come on that. But we didn't spend this much. We were afraid to spend money on records. This one was it was weird, all right? So we spent, I forget what it was on this one. It was like 20 something or whatever I spent on the thing. This is a concert that was recorded in Noblesville, Indiana. Is it a Noble record? It's not a Noble record. It's from Indiana. And it's a bootleg. But it's kind of weird. So it comes with, it even came with colored vinyl. Except for one, the first disc. The first disc is black. And the second disc is red. Parachute Records. So, Parachute Records, for all the misdeeds, for all their bootlegging and sinning, they did have a pretty cool series of records that came out. This is Neil Young's Songs for Judy. This is originally, it was a concert from 1976. It was on that Parachute Records label for a while, floating around out there in the bootlegs. And Neil Young did a bootleg series of records that he released. Everybody was like, why is there a new Neil Young record every year or every 6 months? Because of Parachute Records. And places like Parachute Records, right? So yeah, you know, this is not Parachute Records. This is Neil Young's release. We bought this record twice, because once we got it and it had two side twos. There's two LPs. They were both the second LP. That's what I'm trying to say. But this one's red. Do they sound, you know what's weird is they sound good in the quiet parts. So you drop the needle on this thing and it was quiet. And then this is a live show, right? So I can't say too much about that. Like, I'm not criticizing too much with the sound quality. But as soon as the show comes on, there's like this background, like buzzing noise. Like whoever's recording this was like sitting on top of an amplifier or something. Like, it goes from just sweet, quiet. Oh, this record's good. I don't know if you've ever been through that. You set the needle down and there's not a lot of like static or noise to the wax. And then as soon as the track starts, like, but it's a live show, all right? It's all right. It's pretty good. You get some banter by Mr. Rose, you know. Axl saying some things, and that's all right. It ends with a guitar solo by Slash. And then it's like, and so this thing ends, and it says Volume 1, Deer Creek Volume 1. So they must have recorded more of them, but God knows where you're going to find those. And then they end the thing, and the Axl's like, yeah, and here's our next song. And then it just, like, that's the end of it. There's 2 discs. There you go. But interesting. But I'm still not, you know, it's all right. I got it. We got it. It's kind of fun. Never seen it. Never seen anything like that. So it's interesting in the market lately that you're finding used. So both of these audiophile music on vinyl records we got. This one we got at Beat Street. Miles Davis. Someday my Prince will. This thing sounds amazing. Oh my God. This is a great recording. Putting it on the turntable. Amazing. We have this CD. We bought the CD because we saw it at Daybreak. It was like an old used copy, and it was like expensive, you know. And it had ringware on the jacket and stuff, but the record sounded good. And as soon as we walked in, Dana, who's a Disney fan, was like, "Oh my God, that's Someday My Prince Will Come. Who is this? This is amazing." And so we went. We didn't, you know, we were going to spend $70 on it, but we found the CD, And then this was like, it was like 40, wasn't it? Canadian, so about 32 bucks in American money. Music on vinyl. This was we're so glad we have this in our jazz collection. Fun fact, my wife voiced a jazz show back in the day, early 2000s, called iCoffee Cafe. It's probably, I don't know, I don't think it's up anymore, but maybe I'll share that on here on the YouTube one of these days. Just put, it'll probably get flagged for copyright. None of this music was copyright at the time. It was new music. It was pod safe music back in the day. So there was music that podcasters could use to put together a long, like one solid track. So it was streaming before streaming was a thing. Early 2000s. So you know, we're kind of jazz fans. You know, we're not like professors on jazz music, or you're gonna sit us down and talk about John Coltrane for an hour and a half. You think we're gonna? You think we're like that sophisticated and cultural? You think we're that savvy? No. I'll end up talking about beer, camshafts, or something like that. I'll break into spark plugs and high octane gas. This was a great one too. This live album, David Bowie, my wife and I sat and finally just put this on the turntable. Listen to that. It's amazing. Rebel, Moonlight Daydream, Sweet Thing, Changes, Suffrage City. This whole record is amazing. It's just a beautiful thing to be captured. And I think it's a conglomerate of different shows. You can tell it came from Canada because you got the French and English thing going on right there, right around in this area. 2-record set, RCA. So this, from what I understand, this was also at one point this was a bootleg. So somebody recorded this and somehow it ended up a RCA on the RCA label. I don't know if they cleaned it up or made it sound better. It sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound amazing, you know. There's some amazing live recordings out there. And there's some, like when you buy a live record, you just kind of got to realize that there's going to be noise and music. There's just microphones out there thrown out and people are yelling and screaming and there's feedback and buzzing sounds. But this record, as a live record, it sounds good. I guess it was a good enough bootleg for RCA to say, well, just going to step in and boom, sell that. Sell that out there in the world. All right. So that's it, man. That's all I got to share. I know it's kind of disappointing a little bit. But that's how that went, you know. We didn't have there's a lot of money. I talked about records, especially in the last video, going through the record stores, the ones that I wanted to buy. And, oh, by the way, this is brought to you by, I'm going to share this beer because the name is weird and it's funny, and there's a monster on the can right there. So this is Bat Squatch from Rogue. This is a brewery in Oregon. So kind of sort of local. Here in the PNW. Bat Squatch Hazy IPA. Oh yeah, it's great stuff. So if you're enjoying Russ TV, don't subscribe because I can't really tell you to subscribe yet because the doctors haven't come together to put out the disclaimer and the side effects of what might happen if you actually subscribe to or like the channel or watch it. All right, because there could be repercussions. There could be, you know, like phlegm or something. There's a number of weird side effects. If you don't get that joke, you probably never watched TV in the United States or Canada. Canada has a lot of us too. Where there's like, so prescription drug companies in my country, I've heard this is sort of weird. They don't have this in Europe from what I've heard. We advertise, because your doctor is a freaking idiot. You can't trust him. Don't listen to what he says. Watch these commercials and you'll know what kind of pill you should tell your doctor to put in your body. Because advertisers do a way better job at diagnosing your issues than your doctor does. It's just a weird time to be alive. You don't need to I'm not going to tell you what to do. Subscribe, like it, bat squatch it. I don't care what you do. Have a great time. Until next week. Bye. If I only had a battery saw, I wouldn't have had to run this 2 cords all the way downstairs.